interesting thing about all of that is I started doing this series about 2 weeks ago, just playing off the irony of in your house.
We're not live.
Why not? What? Who? What? You never went up?
And we're live.
We are live. We'll go back to the finisher, and it's a real live finisher. It's a real live episode, as far as we know, that this is actually happening. This is real. This is off the cuff. This is completely unscripted. We have not been talking at all. I just sat down, got a phone call here on Zoom, and said, "Hey Jerry, how you doing?"
Oh,
he said, "Let's do a show, you asshole." So here we are.
Son of a bitch. Oh.
You gotta look. You gotta love the internet. Let me tell you, you gotta love the internet.
There are so many buttons to click doing it this way.
Right? It was much easier when there's only one button, wasn't it? Right?
One button. I'm going to make a checklist so I know what all the buttons are I have to click to go live. Good God Almighty! Good ugly muggly.
Oh man! So let's break the fourth wall here real quick. We've been going for about 10 minutes or so before we realized that we weren't recording any of this. None of this was live. So I had babbled a little bit. We had kind of displugged. So before we get back into what we were going to talk about, we get back to where we were talking. If you're watching us live right now, you're watching us on Facebook at The Finisher Podcast. And if you're not watching us live, you're catching this on the rebound. You're hearing us on one of many podcast sites, soon to be many more. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll also be on top of Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
And fingers crossed, that iHeartRadio app. Hopefully we didn't do something the last time that got us banned the next time.
I don't know. Who knows? But we're gonna get up on right now. It's facebook.com/The Finishing Podcast. The Finisher Podcast.
Finisher Podcast.
The Finisher Podcast.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I keep doing that.
We'd been really good the first couple times we did this about not screwing that up.
It's like working in radio when you were on one station, and then you go to a different station, and you start to do what you usually do, and the first station that you're usually on comes out, and you're like, "Sorry, that's not right."
I know specifically of some instances that happened live. And I can't, it's kind of one of those, you don't want to say anything. I don't want to bury anybody because I really like the guy.
Yeah.
But I've, been for a witness firsthand of that kind of thing.
Hey Dave, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us.
Now that you actually can.
Yeah, now that you actually can, that I did it correctly this time.
The big thing we were talking about is actually we've been going up to our website, which is
now
officially
thefinisherpodcast.com. You can find us there.
Yeah, you'll find us there. The last thing I remember posting, and we've got to get you posting some more stuff because I'd like to see you do some writing, was a review of the In Your Houses from 1995 because a couple weeks ago decided, look, we're all spending time in our houses. Thought the wordplay was kind of interesting. Realized there were only 17 of them. I could knock those out in a couple of weeks. So I started with 1995 and doing reviews of those pay-per-views, and was 95 a bad year.
Which I was telling him, I just was bored last night. I'm like, it's nothing really on. I've watched everything I was watching. I'm going to watch this. So I pulled up, In Your House because we had just been talking about it. He wrote these articles, so I started watching the first one where they only gave the house away or whatever. I don't know if they did on all of them or not, but.
Well, the good part about that is it means you got to see Bret Hart and Hakushi, which is the only match that on that card that is really worth going back and watching. Yep, but the other thing you mentioned, the house giveaway that and they didn't cut that out.
No,
it was at least a 5-minute bit. And then multiple times they went back to the house with this huge thing of entries and did a video tour of the house. Like they left all of that in the network, and as you go forward, they leave almost all of that self-promotion stuff in there. All of the clips going back talking about the Superstar line, which in 95 and 96 was a big part of the shows. That's all in there.
I almost called it just to see what would pop up.
I mean, who knows? Who knows what kind of 900 number you're going to get these days? Yeah, I don't even know. I'm surprised 900 numbers still exist anymore.
That's true.
They also apparently during pay-per-views, which we just don't do now, hawked a lot of merchandise. So, and it all stayed in these cuts. So there's a lot of times you'll talk backstage to Todd Penfield and Doc Hendricks, who are raving about the new Shawn Michaels shirt or the life-size Bret Hart cardboard cutout.
Dude, I want a life-size cutout of Undertaker.
It was just $20 in 1995, plus shipping and handling. So that's what's going on. So it's like I said, it's very cool to see these, but man, 1995 was for the most part a go ahead and miss year. I watched 5 shows. They were all about 2 hours long. I picked out 4 matches that were worth it, and 3 of the 4 featured Bret Hart. So
nice. We'll tell you the price has went up for a live standee or cardboard cutout of the Undertaker. It is now $34.99.
You know, really, honestly, for inflation, that's not bad.
It's not bad.
What, 15?
And that's at WWEshop.com.
15 years ago. Wait, 95, 05. Yeah, and 15 years ago. I didn't really want to admit that was even farther. So I'm working my way through 1996, so let me tell you. 1996, as far as in-ring action goes, is leaps and bounds better than 1995. Things were coming around, thank God. We didn't know any better back in the day in 1995, but now we can look back and going, wow, that was terrible. Holy crap. Mabel and Adam Baum was a pay-per-view match back in 1995. And we accepted that.
Good old Mabel.
Rest in peace, bro.
That's right.
So that is where we're at. And the serendipitous thing about this whole thing, you sent me earlier this week, on Wednesday, I believe, is a little thing that coming up here in a couple of weeks, thanks to one CEO and his best friend, his best balding friend, is that the NXT Mega Show will be in your house on June 6th, 10?
Give me just a second.
7th. June 7th will be NXT TakeOver in your house. And the best part is they're using the old logo too. So
that's great.
No one called me and asked me if it was a good idea. I would have told them, yeah, absolutely, go for it. Please do. Holy shit, do it. But yeah, I was not consulted in this.
Well,
it just seems serendipitous that they had the same good idea that I did. I'm not taking any credit for it. I'm just saying.
I'm all for using the old logo.
Yeah, I mean, you do a little bit of it. I mean, it's not in the same logo, the exact same thing, but it's the same font, it's the same style.
Same all-around look, almost.
Call back to the thing that people know and then do something new with it. Maybe it becomes, from here on, it becomes associated with NXT, and they do it in your house every year.
That'd be good. That'd be kind of
cool. That'd be kind of cool. Although they'll be missing a major opportunity if one of these cinematic matches don't end up in someone's front, like in someone's living room. So
definitely,
they just bust through whatever apartment complex they send like their first year trainees to, because they got a deal, and just like knock down someone's sliding glass door, and just start beating each other. Like in the kitchen, grab the frying pan, and there's so much possibility there. All I'm saying.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll definitely be live streaming it right here on the Facebook page. In our houses, yes.
In our houses, that's true. Also, speaking of, since we maybe mentioned of it, it's also hard to believe that we were live on Facebook just 1 week ago talking about live reacting to Money in the Bank, which is where we're going to keep doing that as long as we can. And this is where this right here on Facebook Live is the place to see those. I'm not cutting down a 3.5 hour stream for a podcast. We're just going to do it. We'll just do it live.
Exactly. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Sorry, I had to do it.
I mean, they didn't want to go there initially this early in the show.
Yeah, we're 9 minutes in. We're good.
Fair enough.
So, Did you watch SmackDown at all?
I didn't get a chance to catch up on SmackDown last night, but interestingly enough, or the other night, we already had some news yesterday, right out of Friday's SmackDown.
Go ahead.
No, I was okay. I was trying to be professional and toss it to you, but that works. That one of the guys in one of the feature matches Friday night on SmackDown was gone by Saturday morning. As Drew Gulak let his contract expire at midnight, he is no longer was an employee of World Wrestling Entertainment.
Nope, let his contract expire. He can be anywhere. He can show up on Wednesday at AEW if he wants to.
I was talking to somebody about that, and if you think about it, I mean, that would be quite an interesting stable to put together, he and the Revolution now, wouldn't it? I mean, that right there is the definition of a shooter's stable.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it's kind of interesting to see how quickly that got out. I mean, he released himself so they didn't have to. I don't know what else, I don't know what you're hearing about why that they decided to let him go. Pardon me.
I don't know. But I do know that match he had with Daniel Bryan, they made an agreement before they went out. Not one punch was thrown.
To a real good old school.
Yep, there was not one swing at all.
I like that.
So now I want to go back and rewatch it just to see it.
Yeah, I want to catch that up and see if I can do that, because it should be on Hulu here by tomorrow, so it'd be good to see. Apparently, which is an interesting stance to take now, but he was apparently trying to get some more money, which he's finally being used in a more prominent place, and is being a company guy in a very difficult time. It would have been nice to get a little bit more consideration, considering that when he signed that contract, he was probably doing nothing but 205 Live as opposed to working with one of the biggest names on SmackDown. So
yeah, that 205 Live is awful.
Is it even a thing? Do they do more than one match anymore?
They do a couple. I don't think it's as big as it was.
They do that every time you think there's some flourish, and hey, we're going to finally feature smaller guys, and the Cruiserweight Championship is going to mean something, and then 5 months later, it's
Now, if you go when I went to SmackDown shows, that's after SmackDown. So if they change everything and redo it, I think they still do the same thing.
SmackDown was live, and then they taped one. I assume they taped 105 Live or streamed it live afterwards, as opposed to before. Which would make a little bit more sense, but then you'd have the same problem is you're trying to tape an hour show before a 2-hour live show. Who's going to show up at 6 to start a show, or 7?
Yeah, exactly.
However they do it. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
So what you got on the list?
Well, that was our first thing, and the reason that they had a match was a first-round match in the tournament to crown a new Intercontinental Champion, and there's some other things around that one.
Because what happened to
the belt?
They stripped Sami Zayn of the belt.
They stripped Sami Zayn of the belt. And Sami, you're better off without that ugly piece of shit on your shoulder. Just saying.
Awful. It's awful. Please bring back the white strap. Bring back the old one. This one looks like a pile of dog shit.
Looks like, what it looks like? It looks like one of those when like for like a board game or a video game, when you need a currency, you Google search an image for generic gold coin, and that's what it looks like. They drew a generic gold coin and stuck a W on it, and that's your Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, pretty much.
And to be clear, I do believe this belt came out after we did our top 5 favorite belts, but I have a feeling that would have not even made an honorable mention on either of our lists.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
But the interesting thing you figure with this is that Sami finally got a chance with this belt after long being in a very weird place with the company, as in they knew they had a piece of talent on their hands, but they only briefly figured out how to use him. And he's been kind of vocal about, his lack of direction for so long. Finally gets a push with it, and it means something to him at the very least. And then
boom.
Well, circumstances are they are, becomes the second champion to be stripped of a belt because they just can't get to Florida to work, along with many other wrestlers, including it came out that, Robert Roode, why hasn't he been on television forever? He can't get out of Canada.
Exactly. That's what Dave said. Said he couldn't leave Canada.
That's the thing. So I understand, like I said, this doesn't upset me as much as if they had just decided, you're done being champion. We're not going to bother jobbing you out. We're just taking the belt back from you. It's a thing we're stuck with when just kind of, you can't cross the border to come to work. What else do you want?
I mean, this whole virus is screwing a lot of stuff up.
Oh yeah, I mean everywhere. It's not even, and this is even as we kind of come to the other side and many states start to reopen. It'll be interesting to see how long the international restrictions stay. Canada will probably want to keep us dirty Americans out for a lot longer. So who knows when we'll see Bobby Roode? Who knows when we'll see Sami Zayn again? Kevin Owens, I believe, lives in the States now, but he's been sidelined with an ankle injury since WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which is why there's been no follow-up there.
I'll tell you what, people are not following crap.
No, not at all.
I just went to a store, if anyone has it around them, Ollie's.
Mm-hmm, okay, yeah.
And the new one that just went up around us. And it was elbow to elbow. It was packed. I mean, yes, they had the X's on the ground, you're in line, stand here. But
no one cares.
It was just, people were not wearing masks. They were cutting in front of you and just rude. It was awful.
It's a simple thing that I just thought about this. People being militant about not wanting to wear a mask, and my whole point is it sounds very schoolyardish to say, but you people are why we can't have nice things. It's because of jackasses like you that we don't have baseball.
Yeah.
That we're not going to have football.
You shut your whorish mouth.
Just saying.
They will have football with an empty stadium. They've already talked to the Cleveland Browns on how to do that.
Oddly enough, that's one dig that the Cleveland Browns you can't really make because they may suck, but people show up.
People still, because they can go to an NFL game for $1.50 and a piece of pizza.
As opposed to which is why you end up with the Steelers game just covered in black and gold.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that one probably still sells pretty well because it's the Steelers game.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Now, if you wanted to make that joke about working in empty stadiums, you could have made it about Cincinnati.
It's been said about Cincinnati, Cleveland, Lions. It's been said about all of those teams.
The easy one for baseball is that baseball's been consulting both Tampa Bay and Miami about how to do games without fans.
Yeah, basically the same thing. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Dave said they asked the Browns, Lions, and Bengals for advice.
At least we're it's nice and we're all inclusive to our local teams here. Look, we all suck. We know this, but
I don't have an NFL team,
and I don't want to say this may be our year, but things are looking better for the Browns than they have in multiple years.
Not that we're not a football podcast, but that's what they said last year.
No, that's what ESPN said last year because they couldn't stop gagaing over Baker Mayfield. And to the rest of us who weren't trying to get ratings, looked at it and went, it's his second year in. Every quarterback takes a step back in their second year because the defense has figured them out. There's a lot of other things going on, and there's a lot of other issues that have yet to be resolved.
Yeah.
And that last one is one of the things they've actually been doing is resolving those issues, an offensive line so Baker doesn't spend half the game running for his goddamn life. Oh, also, everyone in the division except for Baltimore has also been taking a hit recently, so it's a much more open playing field.
Gotcha.
So, because the Bengals are going to be bad for a while, as they try to rebuild with behind Joe Burrow. And God only knows what kind of Big Ben that Philadelphia. That right there would be a mortal sin. That Pittsburgh is going to have when Ben comes back and questions about who's going to be about that receiving core. Who's going to come back healthy on that defense? Pittsburgh has a lot of questions to answer before they get into their first game. And then you just have Baltimore's going to be good.
Okay.
I don't know where this went from. You turned a corner and I didn't put the brakes on.
We turned a little tiny curve. It was a little curve. It was a slant, just a little notch, and you just turned that steering wheel 90 freaking degrees and just hit the gas.
I followed with inertia. But at the same time, if you think about it, this is the closest to sports that we've had to talk about for the last couple of months. The NFL draft, being able to talk to people about draft picks that weekend was the greatest thing ever.
I bet.
Because we hadn't had anything to talk about. We've been taking Mount Rushmore season and extended it into the spring.
Did you watch Raw at all? Or any clips of Raw?
I've been bad this week, so I have missed everything that everything I have. I've read on the internet this week. So
we are the worst podcast for talking about wrestling because we miss it.
We did well. I mean, we did do a live. We were live for 3 hours on Sunday, and apparently that's all our steam was. But there was something interesting on Raw, and I think you may have been trying, even if you didn't realize it, you were trying to transition to the next thing on my list. Is that there was an interesting? I don't want to say. The tag team champions were involved in something interesting, were they not?
That was awful. It was god-awful. The Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, or whatever they're called. They had a basketball tournament. Are you saying
that they're building a tag team feud that didn't involve a tag match?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. It was a basketball tournament. They played frickin' horse, basically. Whatever you can do, we can do better.
They hate tag teams up there, don't they? They just absolutely hate tag teams. Now, my other question is this the only thing they can think of to prolong a feud between the two of them? Because there aren't any other tag teams right now that they can regularly have on television, which might be a thing.
That could be because
that might be a thing.
On Raw, you had Dolph Ziggler and Rude, but Rude can't be here.
Rude can't get down.
Can't get across the border.
Can't get back. I mean, I guess for that week or so, you had Zelina Vega's group that could have done something with the tag team.
I tell you what, I'm done with seeing them.
They were barely a thing.
They were nothing, and then all of a sudden, it's every week. It's the same ones.
I mean, there's that. Again, it's one of those. I wonder. It's half lack of ideas, probably half circumstances. Like if there's just nobody else who can be there available to work, you got to work with who you have. You know what I mean? Like if you watch AEW, most of Dynamite, a good chunk of it has kind of gone back to the way wrestling TV used to be, where you have one or two featured matches and then stars and job guys. Even though some of the job guys they're using are very well respected indie vets who've been around forever, and hopefully we'll be able to get a job out of this for being the good soldiers and coming down and doing jobs. Guys like Sugar Duncan will hopefully get a more permanent spot in a company, because there's a talented dude who deserves to have a prominent spot in a bigger company.
True.
But at the same time, though, I mean, a basketball game? Is that really how we're going to continue this rivalry over for the tag team title? Like this wrestling rivalry is going to be a basketball game? But lest you fear that they had no more new ideas for this rivalry.
Oh no! What they got next?
Because tomorrow night on Raw,
beer pong.
Wow, you're close. Actually, you're not as far off.
Really?
Tomorrow night on Raw, the Street Profits, the World Tag Team Champions, will face off against their biggest rivals, the Viking Raider Experience, in an axe-throwing competition.
A what?
An axe-throwing competition. So we took these two teams that fit into boxes, found the most stereotypical thing that we could find in each of these teams, and we're going to make them face off into each other. So we're going to watch them throw axes or something, I guess. That's going to be wrestling television. And then we're going to go up Tuesday morning to get the rushes and then bemoan that this week's Raw set a new record for the lowest rated show in God knows how long.
Oh my God, that's awful.
At a certain point.
Yeah, Dave. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, that's legit. It's on their it's on their social media. It's not just me seeing a site. It's on their social media. That's what they're doing tomorrow. That's the thing. Can we, before we, we have been, there's been a lot of shit, and our top 5 is going to continue the shit thing. So, and the rant I have is going to be, can we talk about something good just for a little bit that we haven't mentioned?
Yeah, go ahead.
At least if there's going to be something positive, there were 2 positive things that come out of the opening segment last week on Raw. Number 1, a new Raw Women's Champion, and number 2, a baby.
A baby. A baby, potatoes.
You went and made it racist. I didn't.
Not racist.
Sunday night, Asuka wins the Sunday night, whenever they taped the Money in the Bank match. Asuka wins Money in the Bank match, and then Monday, I guess literally that day when they taped that segment, gets handed the Raw Women's Championship because Becky Lynch goes, "You're gonna have to cash it in. I'm going away for a while. I'm gonna go be a mother.
You be a champion and a warrior. I'm gonna go be a mother." And then everyone cried and hugged, and
I mean,
it was something good,
right? Something good. Congratulations to she and Colby for having a kid.
Her and who?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tyler. Her and Tyler.
Gotcha. If you don't know, Seth Rollins.
And thank God we didn't get that worked into a storyline yet, because I'm sure that's only a matter of thing. Like, as much as they don't want their relationship on screen to be a thing, I swear to God, I'm sure in that writer's room something like that has been pitched. Is Seth really the father of her baby? Oh, I'm sure it's been pitched and hopefully shot down multiple times.
I hope.
Let something good happen. So it'll be a while. It's probably going to be at least another year or so before we see Becky Lynch again.
We may not see her for quite a while. I mean, you got the 9 months, and then she's got to heal and get back into her wrestling shape.
Right. If she wants to come back full time at all. Don't forget, over a year ago, Ronda Rousey left to go have a family, and Becky is still going to beat her to that mark.
Yeah, Becky beat her at WrestleMania. She beat her at that.
WrestleMania, then she's going to beat her to motherhood. That's horrible. But at the same time, she's also decided it sounds either she's getting ready to come back at some point in the very near future, and they were working the hell out of us, or she just said fuck it and is not coming back at all and is going to ride the rest of her contract out and go do something else. She went ham on WWE fans.
Oh yeah,
fans.
It's fake. So stupid. But another good thing that came out of this week, was on SmackDown, and it was Otis teaming up with Braun Strowman.
I did see this. I did see it.
And Otis was getting ready to do his, worm his caterpillar. He tags in Braun, and they both do it together. Braun's was awful.
I don't believe a human that large can move. But then again, Otis shouldn't be able
to do it. Otis can do a worm perfect.
Otis can do a worm probably better than Scotty 2 Hottie.
Oh my God, he needs just to come back just to do a worm off.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
A worm off, yes, it's got to happen. Some reunion, like a SmackDown reunion show, and just have Scotty 2 Hottie come out and Otis come out and both of them do a worm off.
How cool would that be?
Can someone call Vince? Hey! Call Vince! There's no one here.
Yeah, no, they're isolated here.
So that was a couple of good things. New women's champion, a baby, and watching Braun and Otis do the worm.
It's kind of fake, getting ready to cash his thing in, and just kind of, I'm just playing.
I ain't doing that for you, buddy.
I don't know where that's gonna go. Hopefully it goes until after Braun drops the belt to whomever, because I don't want them to turn Otis heel.
Yeah, I know.
And that's kind of how that's going to have to be if they do that, especially now. So.
But Otis said he was going to use it for the tag titles.
Yeah, let's also not do that either. Like,
hey, you know what? You know they'll do it because it'll be for the first time ever.
That's true. That's true.
So you know they'll do it.
So my only question to that is, who's he going to tag with then?
What's wrong with Tucker?
I don't know. Where is he?
He was just out that day, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he...
Out that day? When was the last time you saw him on TV?
That's true. A few weeks ago. About a month ago.
Like, no problem. Like, no, the team, like, you don't... I'm not saying break up heavy machinery. I'm just saying, for whatever reason, it's been a solo. I don't know if maybe someone could tell us. I don't know if Tucker's injured at the moment, and that's why there's nothing happening, or what.
We'll have to look that up. You talk about something. Let me look that up.
Because we're very prepared here on the show.
Yeah, what do you even think about that?
We do our goddamn homework on this show.
Let's see.
I wish I had some music, cause some generic think music from Jeopardy. Yeah.
That's a big long post. Yeah, he's injured somewhat. I don't know why. How. I'm not going to try to figure out this post. So we'll look it up and we'll talk about it later.
That's all right. We'll make a note and put a pin in that, and something we'll talk about that later on at some point. Because we're going to also try to get into a regular rhythm of doing these shows once a week and on a regular day. Because the last time we did, I think we did this one on a Friday, and now we're doing it on a
Sunday.
Sunday, and our live streams are on a Sunday. And at some point, we'll pick up a schedule again.
Yeah, you said live stream. That reminds me. We are also live on Twitch doing some streaming.
Yeah, we'll be screwing around with that. But you know what we didn't decide is what we're going to go to next. So we just at the end or the beginning of last week, we have WWE 2K19 we've been kind of screwing around with, but I haven't gotten a chance to dig. I haven't dug around in it much since we stopped playing. So we had been playing Halo Anniversary Edition, the original game, the Anniversary Edition off of the Master Chief Collection on Xbox One, because you hadn't, if I remember correctly, I hadn't played through the campaign ever.
No.
So we got that finished up, and just trying to decide, do we go through and play Halo 2 co-op now and just keep going down the line? Because should be a Halo 2 Anniversary Edition, at least for the PC, coming out soon.
Yeah, like I have the Xbox Live. It's like a combo pack, so I have my Xbox Live and Game Pass.
Okay.
So it's like 14 something a month for both having my Xbox Live and then having all these games I can download. Like I just downloaded Fallout 76 or something like that, and Red Dead Redemption 2. There's a multiplayer on that, so I don't know if you have access to Game Pass at all.
I mean, I could, but at the same time, you're on your own with Red Dead Redemption. I'm sorry, boss.
Is it not good?
It had some issues.
Did it?
It had some issues. I'll let the rest of the gaming public talk about that one.
Okay, all right. But yeah, we got or GTA. We could do GTA.
GTA, which is interesting enough, this is now almost a 6-year-old game, and we've both had, at least I've had this game on both the One and the 360. And the other night was really the first time I dug into the multiplayer and the online. Yeah. So I still have to go do a couple jobs so I can level up to level 5 to do things like buy armor, and buy an apartment. I can buy planes, but I don't have a place to put. I can buy $2 million cars, so I have no place to put them right now.
I've got it. We've got a biker hangout.
We have a clubhouse. We have a clubhouse. And I actually found a pretty decent downtown apartment that I liked with a 10-car garage I was going to pick up, and then I realized, oh, sorry, you can't buy real estate till level 5.
Sons of bitches.
Like, for fuck's sake.
So we did, back in the day, in like season 1, we did top 5s.
We did some top 5s.
We did top 5s. We did top 5s.
Oh, crap. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I just realized I left the cup way over there. I'm going to have to get up before we drew for next draw for next week.
That's good.
That's okay.
So when we first did a podcast, a while ago, we drew one, and then things went down, systems broke, we could not do a podcast, so we still have it, and it was worst WWE or worst wrestling theme songs.
Worst wrestling theme songs. Yep.
I have a list of 5. Most of them are WWE, I think.
Actually, now that I mentioned it, let me check my thing. Yeah, yep. They're all WWE.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think partially, and I made a point on this when I actually, breaking the fourth wall. I already have a blog post ready to go on this because I just did the list and the post all at the same time.
Nice.
And I made the point, like, there's no WCW on this list or any other company. And the reason I think about that...
I've got one WCW on mine.
Interesting, okay. Well, I can justify why I didn't grab any WCW. It says outside of maybe 3 or 4, there really wasn't any memorable music attached to the guys in WCW. I mean, obviously, Goldberg's theme. Obviously, like, Sting in the later Crow era, and maybe you could say like DDP and or Chris Jericho because of the Nirvana and Pearl Jam ripoffs. But everybody else is not really distinct enough. Their music never became as much of their character as much as the WWEF have always done with their music to make sure that it became part of that wrestler's persona,
to wrap around that guy, that woman, that character, to just engulf them in the character.
Sometimes it works amazingly. Sometimes all you have to hear is a pane of broken glass.
Oh yeah,
or a gong.
I wish we could play the songs because I would play them.
That right there is the main reason that I wanted to make a blog post about them, because in our current medium, unfortunately, we are unable to play them. Before, we had a better system set up that we could have just pulled them right off the bat, but I can't do that right now in this remote studio setup. So,
I mean, I can.
Maybe you can, but I'd have to we're gonna have
when you tell me yours, I can look it up.
All right, we'll see if this works, and we'll also see if the podcast we'll only do a couple seconds then. How's that?
Yeah, we'll just do a quick couple seconds.
And I'm going to write your list down,
all right,
so that I can make a post of it later on.
Go ahead with your number 5.
That's something we also don't have.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, how do you think you can make a bad gimmick worse? Like a bad character, how do you make him worse? This isn't rhetorical. I'm asking for ideas. Bad music is one. Let me get more specific. You take a really bad gimmick and then give them a generic country rock song with the dumbest lyrics you can think of, and you have my number 5, Jesse and Festus's Biscuits and Gravy. Because, okay, that's the dumbest thing ever. And I love the fact that, Luke...
It's such a bad video, too. All right.
I love the fact that that Festus, the guy, the supposed, I mean, there's no PC way to put it. He was playing a mentally retarded guy.
Yeah.
Who turned into this beast once he heard a bell, and that was Luke Gallows.
Yeah.
That was Luke Gallows with a hair ribbon.
And I think they even made a callback to that during a Raw or something.
They probably did, and also Gallows at some point was doing an interview and told the story that initially when they got back, Vince had completely forgotten he was Festus. And the reaction back was, shut up, don't tell him. Don't remind him. We'll never get seen again.
I'll have to do that crap again. My number 5, I got it. Let me pull it up. Let's see. See, I can do mine this way.
I was just saying, I'm going to set you up on this one. Hang on. But yes. See, again, we're just shooting from the hip. Like if we were together, if we were in the same place,
we would have had him already.
Had it all ready to go.
All right, my number 5. Oh, commercial. This could be the bad part. And
he's a man. Such a man. Such a man. He's a ring.
Okay.
Oh,
William Regal. And what I love, I mean, I thought it was awful, just cheesy, corny. But what I loved was, I forget when it was. You can go back and find it, and it was William Regal facing Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan had the truck ready to play this. They played William Regal's theme song, but they record scratched and played this, and he's walking out, being William Regal, William Regal, pulling on his cuffs, being his character, and he's like.
I'll see if I can. You know what? I will probably add that video when I make the post.
Yeah.
Because you see it like as soon as he hears like the steam whistle, it washes over him, and he has that look of, all right, you got me.
You see that William Regal. You see that William Regal character break, like that.
Immediately,
like his character is broke. Like he is broken character. That's
they went on to have one of the best TV matches of the year, if I remember correctly.
It was really good, yeah.
I'm going to use that video when I go back and post that later on today.
Nice. All right, what is your number 4?
Give me a little chat about number 4.
What is it?
Open your chat. There should be a thing thing right underneath. I'm trying to tip you off here. I'm going to be tipping everyone off on the rest of the surprise may be gone, but I'm trying to help you out here.
Send over Facebook, because if I pull the chat up, it's going to show up on screen.
All right, fine.
Sorry.
You good? Should I stall it? Do I need to stall more? Because I want to set this bit up.
Yeah, go ahead and just send it through Facebook, and I'll get it up that way. So.
Did you have my number 4?
Number 4. Let's see. Did it pop up? Yeah, send it over Facebook Messenger.
Okay, here we go.
That's what I was saying. Then I'll pull it up. That way they can't see it, because I pull the...
Okay, fair enough.
If I pull it up other way, it's going to show on screen.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So again, this is live radio podcast stream thing.
All right, let's see.
And I'm not going to edit this out when I go post the podcast. I'm going to pull the audio down, and I'm just going to put it straight up to the thing. I'm not going to edit this out, because why would we screw this up?
No, definitely.
All right.
So your number 4?
My number 4 is, okay, just on these 2 seconds alone.
Let's see if there's a...
That's it. Stop it right there. Don't tear it off. Turn that shit off right now. That's it. That's all you need to hear. Is that auto-tone disaster, knowing that you were that disaster was walking towards the ring. It take those 2 seconds, take an otherwise up-tempo, if not unremarkable dance track, and send that right into auditory torture territory. And then you had to sit through a Brie Bella match.
Yeah, there you go.
That almost worked.
My number 4. Let's see if this works. Any idea?
Disco fever, disco fever, disco fever.
Any idea?
Yeah.
Disco Inferno.
Okay.
God, that was such a generic, crappy disco song.
Okay, I'll definitely give you that. I will give you that one. But in the spirit of that character, it sort of made sense.
Yeah. And your... Oh, that was my number 4. So you're number 3.
My number 3. Yep, I just sent that over. My number 3.
Just look at me.
Now, what about this here piece of music sounds like a thing that would really get you excited about anything?
How is this going to intimidate your opponent?
I mean,
I'm scared you're going to come down and hit me over the head with a baguette, but...
No, and not even the right guy. That was Sylvain Grenier. He was the American part of La Resistance. But at this point, he had been repackaged into the Narcissist Mark 12. And then they gave him this wannabe Randy Newman track, which I don't want to say isn't the only reason this new gimmick never got over, but it's really hard to make a better impression when you're kneecapped right from the second before you even have a chance to do anything in the ring.
Yeah. Did he have a little dog named Fifi?
Grenier again.
Okay.
What you're doing is you're mixing up your Frenchman. Or you're mixing up the real Frenchman with the fake Frenchman, or the Quebecois. Yeah, whatever.
That's your number 3. My number 3 is a commercial for this, so we gotta wait and let this go past. Stupid.
Yeah.
I wake up every morning, can't wait to embrace the day. I take my coffee by the pool. Yeah. I pass my picket fence.
You got it? You know what it is?
Oh yeah, I knew immediately. That's the problem I had.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I was with you immediately. I was waiting for you to pick it back up.
Kerwin White. Poor Chavo Guerrero.
At a brief period where Chavo Guerrero was trying to, I mean, it's really, like, it's uncomfortable to mention what they had to have him do. And the only reason that gimmick, or even worse, the only reason that Kerwin White went away is that his uncle died.
Exactly.
And he reclaimed being Guerrero. Although, interestingly enough, in some of those vignettes, he's accompanied by a young caddy, young blonde guy, who looked the perfect part of Uptight Caddy, one young Dolph Ziggler.
Yep. Before he was in the Spirit Squad.
Before the abomination that was the Spirit Squad, he was a caddy for Kerwin White. I don't think we need to say anything else about the gimmick, but the reason I don't necessarily know, I think it was a bad character, but as far as the song goes, it was perfect for what they were doing. Like the faux Frank Sinatra, perfect for that character. Awful character. Gimmicks that should never happen. Kill it with fire from all of our memories.
Yes, very much so. All right, down to number 2. Dan's number 2 is...
Number 2.
Yo, you dealing with the X Factor.
I got everything I ever wanted, and I'll never give that back.
Yo.
Oh, I know you hate that factor, but you ain't gotta look at me like...
That bit right there. Okay, let's start at that bit right there. In case you don't know, that's X Factor. That's not a necessarily a production song that the company did. That is What You Looking At by Uncle Kracka. Now, they also start with this weird, weak, boring-ass piano open. And did you hear that next note that when they dropped an X Factor, but instead of dropping an X Factor, they literally just slapped the words X Factor over the existing lyrics?
Hang on.
Yo, you dealing with the X Factor.
I got everything I ever wanted, and I'll never give that back.
Here it is.
Oh, I know you hate that factor, but you ain't gotta look at me.
Oh my god.
Ever.
That's awful. That is awful.
By the time the music finally picks up, Albert's already gotten to the ring, and then if it continues to play, it's verses from Kid Rock Jr., which, I mean, while it's the most 2001 thing ever, bleh.
Exactly. Oh my god, that's awful. I forgot all about that.
Slapped. I mean, didn't even try to have him cut a new line for him. Just slapped. Never mind. Yeah, you go ahead.
That was not good. But, you know. My number 2. Oops. You got it.
I got you. Right to censor.
Right to censor.
I mean, at the same as a theme,
it was just so annoying.
But at the same time, was that not the point?
True. I hated the gimmick. I hated the group. I hated the song.
Yeah, I think it was one of those. At that time, I didn't want to see it. I wanted to just run to the ring so we get your damn music off.
Exactly.
In retrospect, I'm kind of going, they were actually kind of undercover, one of the better heels at that time because
we're a good heel.
No one wanted, there are a bunch of mid card guys that no one wanted any piece of. They did it very well.
That's my number 2. Your number 1.
Well, like tradition, before I hit my number 1, I have a few honorable mentions. I have a few, actually.
We'll just talk about those.
Yeah, I'll just talk about these. I forgot these were at the bottom of the page. So if you have any honorable mentions, I can give them to you later. Okay, perfect. That makes my repost much easier. My honorable mentions, Kelly is Holla.
Holla.
There you go. Not a great song. Not terrible, if not for that shrill opener that just seemingly randomly gets inserted back into the track at various points.
Can we mix her theme song, Holla Holla, and Theodore Long's? Can we mix those together?
Okay. Now you have a decent song.
Can we mix those Holla Hollas together?
Can we get that high pitched voice to say tag team to match playa?
The Undertaker. Sorry.
Playa.
Oh.
I'm gonna Mike to All About the Power, the one for Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga.
Oh yeah, yep.
A team that could have been something, but was once again undercut. Got a song that could have been something that was once again undercut. And if you actually listen to this thing, it sounds like they wrote way too many lyrics, and then got the music and just like, fuck it, shove them in anyway. Something else about that era, Ted DiBiase Jr.'s "I Came From Money," which is just a bad version of Shane O'Mac's theme.
Was it?
Wait, yeah, it was. And if you think about it, like "Here Comes the Money" kind of is gotten to become a classic theme because it does kind of slap. But DiBiase Jr.'s was a bad attempt at that.
Yeah, speaking of Shane, man, I am so glad we haven't seen him doing anything in like how long now?
Seriously.
Knock on wood.
We appreciate it. Yeah, don't give me any ideas. And then lastly, actually, I was going to address your number 2, that I would call a noise theme. Things that are not songs, but just like looped sound clips, like Isaac Jacob DDS. That was just a dental drill. Right to Censor. The Goon, if you remember that one. Bashin' Boogers.
I thought about picking him.
Kinda Mantars, kinda Kamalas. Actually, those are two things are actually pretty close together. But anything that's just a noise deserves the honorable mention there.
Gotcha. You ready for your number 1?
If you got my number 1, I'm ready for number 1.
I got your number 1.
Well, the number 1 track.
Rockabilly.
I can't anymore. Okay. So let me set up a scenario for you. All right. Imagine that you have just had a multiple year run, and you're just being as a tag team. You held the tag team championship on multiple occasions. So you're being pulled out of this decent tag team and kind of wallowing around the bottom of the card, been doing jobs for a while. Now all of a sudden you're going to get a singles push, and they're going to pair you with a legend. Here's the catch. We're going to try and remake you into the second coming of that legend. Oh, and by the way, your arrival in the arena will be announced by the sound of someone getting motorboated. Then we're going to rewrite the theme from In Your House, the In Your House we did in Nashville in 1995, and make it I'm Cool, I'm Cocky, I'm Bad Part 2. Rockabilly. If the only positive thing to come out of this is that the gimmick disappeared just as quickly as it came, and thankfully no one remembers Billy Gunn for being the Honky Tonk Man's protege. They kind of like, oh, he was in the Smoking Guns, and they skip right to DX or the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah.
Thank God. But that theme exists, and it's awful.
Well, you mentioned my number 1 in your honorable mentions.
Oh, did I? Oops.
No, you're good. Dr. Isaac Yankum DDS. Oh, Kane.
Poor Glenn Jacobs. Man,
Poor
he had to.
guy.
Did he have some years of some serious shit to walk through before he finally got a chance to do something with a decent gimmick? Huh?
Dude, and I will tell you, go watch the Smoke and Go podcast, or whatever it's called, on the network. Stone Cold and him. He tells how it all came about, how the cane came about, the mask, the time when he took the mask off in the ring, everything. He talks about Dr. Isaac Yankem.
I mean, it's a step up from the Christmas creature, but not much.
Yeah. But so that is our top 5.
I believe that qualifies. There's just some bad songs on that one. Now, the interesting bit is that I'll have these up here momentarily as soon as the show wraps up. I'm going to add Jerry's top 5 to my list, and then there'll be a whole ton of videos. So if you really want to torture yourself with some of these bad themes, they'll be up there on thefinisherpodcast.com.
Sorry, Dave. They put Isaac Yankem makes my teeth hurt. Stop!
I mean, it was exactly what it was supposed to do. So, go ahead and do your fill to wrap the show, and I'm going to go get the thing so we can draw for next week.
So, yeah, thanks for joining us. Make sure you are following us here on Facebook, facebook.com/thefinishingmove, which the link is kind of, not linked, but it's written out right there for you. We're on Twitter, twitter.com. Oh, sorry, facebook.com/thefinisherpodcast. I just did it again. Damn it, Dan. I did it again.
What?
It's facebook.com/thefinisherpodcast.
Right.
So the old one.
It's the old one. It's Eye on Your Finisher.
Or twitter.com/thefinisherpodcast, I think.
The Finisher Podcast. The Finisher Podcast. We are the finishers.
And all those links, we're going to get them up on our website, which is thefinisherpodcast.com.
Damn straight.
This video at some point will be up on our podcast section on the website, thefinisherpodcast.com.
I'm working on that bit.
So we're going to figure all that out. And then make sure you follow us over on Twitch, which is twitch.com/the_finisher_podcast. Watch us play some stupid games. Chat with us on there. We suck.
Yeah, we do. It's generally later at night, too. So if you can't sleep either, come say hi.
Yeah, it's generally a little bit later. Even though I've upped my internet and I've upped my wireless router, so hopefully we should be good on the streaming side.
So when we get together... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say, so we're going to get another top 5. Dan's got the...
Yep, I got the little cup. I got the infamous cup here.
The cup.
So when next we meet again, we shall be talking about our top 5... Oh, this could be fun. Our top 5 best factions.
Top 5 best factions.
Yes.
And if you have... speaking of the top 5s, if you're watching or whatever, and you have your top 5 or worst theme songs, put them on our Facebook page. Give us a comment. Leave it there. Let us know what your top 5 worst theme songs are. Same with our next week's top 5. Your top 5 worst factions. Best.
We're going to do good for once. Good for once.
Top 5 best factions. Doesn't have to be WWE. It could be, WWE, NXT, even AEW now, if you want. WCW, anything. Your top 5 favorite factions. And we'll have that for you next week.
I'm sorry, I was just responding to messages.
Tell them to go away.
So, yep, anyway.
I think that's all we got.
I think it's about it. You know what? We got everything out we got to get. So I'm going to go work on a blog post for you and then put this show up and distribute it. And hopefully next week I'll have a couple more places to list where you can find us. Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up,
comment, favorite.
Middle finger if you prefer. It's up to y'all.
Once we get the podcast actually posted, we'll post it on our Facebook page as well, so you can find
that as well. That as well. Yep.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us.
See ya.
Bye.